One of my favorite little runs on the San Juan. I love to start my day here. There's really no pressure this morning on Monday morning. It looks good, and I'm going to give this spot a try. So you can see it's a beautiful run, shallows out. It's a strong current on the other side. Fish generally lay in along that bank, and the top of the throw in a few of the favorite San Juan fly choices, and we'll see how the trout respond this morning. But nice and cool in the morning, and it looks like it's going to be a great day. Sunday, July 21st, and beautiful fish. Good color, good fight, nice and healthy and real strong. Let's get them back in the water. It was a good fight. Monday night, and just picked them up on a size 26 4.5 with a 7X tippet. It's a beautiful fish. I got them on my 4-weight, and it was another San Juan quality rainbow. Sizable fish. They're very strong. They fight extremely well. That was on a size 26 emerger. Another late in the day San Juan rainbow on a size 26 4.5 on the surface with a 7X tippet. It was a lot of fun. There you go, buddy. See you later. Most of the fish we've been catching have been rainbows. We got this one on a nice 4.5. Get them out of the net. It's a nice looking brown, don't you think? See you later, buddy. Thanks for that. I'm not sure how that comes into focus, but all those little black dots are midges. We're in the midst of a midge hatch here on the San Juan River, and you can see how tiny those little guys are, and that's what these fish feed on. Every year is a different experience, and certainly 2019 has had its challenges. One of the things is Colorado's experienced significant and historic snowfall this past winter. It's resulted in a lot of runoff and high flows. Navajo Reservoir up above us is filled to capacity, so they've been releasing water. For July, typically the flows I've experienced between 350 and 500. Right now it's mid-July, and the river's running around 1,040, which is extremely high, and it's resulted in a little bit different fishing experience. The fishing is here. It's just a little bit more of a challenge, but there's less crowds. There are less people have turned out. Other significant things for this week: the New Mexico Fish and Game released 24,000 trout between, I'd say, 8 and 10 inches. Rainbow trout, and they've replenished the river for the future, which is terrific for the future of the river. It's going to result in hopefully some terrific fishing. But this week, if you're here in July 2019, you've caught a lot of those fish, and it's made that a different experience. Highlight of the week is down at Texas Hall, someone caught a legendary brown trout. Evidently his name is Chuck Wagon, weighs in at 28 pounds. He's been caught a number of times, caught and released, and someone nabbed him the other day, so that was a highlight rumor of the week. I didn't see it personally, but it's been substantiated by enough people to make it believable. But it's been a great week, as always. Had a great time, and I can't wait to come back next year. Hey, the first stop on the summer tour here, fishing tour, is now complete. We're at the San Juan River down here in northern New Mexico. Had a great time. Challenges this summer, as I indicated earlier, were high water. Flows were running at 1040 most of the week. Plus the 24,000 juvenile fish they put in that provided a little bit more of a challenge. Not much dry fly action this time, whether it was the higher water. Dry flies only late in the evening, the last half hour of the day, you'd catch some fish on top. No San Juan legends. I didn't catch any huge monsters. They're lurking out there. I saw some beautiful fish. I caught plenty of fish in the 18 to 20 inch range, a couple of really nice browns. Had a real neat experience the other day. I was reeling in one of those juvenile fish, and up came a giant brown, snatched it away, and ended up hooking that brown and playing him for quite a while. I don't know how that happened, but I hooked into him and got him right to my feet and saw him, and he was a real fish, a real nice fish, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to experience that. I'd never had a giant fish take a small bait fish off my line like that. That was pretty cool to see. But it's a good summer. I can't wait to come back next year and learn something new every year. This is a great fishery, and I always enjoy my time here. Now we're on to Colorado.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out.
Good to be up in the mountains and out of that heat, and we're up here in the Conejos, and we're into some nice browns on surface action. This is the first morning, and this is my third fish in the past couple minutes. I've been really responding using a great green drake emerger, and it's nice to be up in the mountains and catching some nice fish on dries. This is going to be a good stay at the Conejos. Hey, it's July 26, 2019. Sitting on the bank here, mid-morning on the Conejos River, up above the flats. Made our way up here yesterday. Had a terrible rainstorm last night that I thought was going to funk up the river for my whole stay, but got up this morning and the water's running clear, which I'm very thankful for. It's a pleasant change from the San Juan River in a sense that it's a lot cooler up here. Last night we had to turn on the heat in the cabin. It's in the high 40s, low 50s, and the water temperature on the San Juan was in the low 40s, and I just took a stream temperature and it's 50 degrees here, so it's nice and balmy. What a difference a year makes. Last year we were here, historic drought. When I got here, the river was running at 28 cubic feet per second, and I didn't think it'd get any worse, as I said, and it went down to 18, so it did. This year, and I'll keep saying this throughout this video, historic snowfall in Colorado, and snowpack was incredible, a real long runoff. Some feel the runoff is going to last all summer. Most of the reservoirs are filled to capacity. Most of the locals, and again, I'm a once-a-year visitor. I wish I could be here more often because I do love it. But most of the locals say we're quite a bit behind on hatches. What's working for me this morning is the green drake emergers so far. Casting on that far bank in the shallows and picking up fun-sized brown trout on green drake emergers. It's not a real prolific hatch. I'm not seeing a lot of bugs come off the water, but they are responding to it, and we'll be here for the next 5 or 6 days, and hopefully the conditions only get better. But if they even stay as they are, you're looking at one happy fly fisher. If you're a fly tyer, that's the bug they desire. Last late afternoon and evening, we got hammered with some late afternoon thunderstorms that were quite severe. Had a decent amount of hail. Brought up the river and brought down the temperature. Yesterday we started out about 51. This morning it was 45 or 46 degrees. We were into some early dry fly action, and then it just petered off. Switched over to nymphs. We've been picking up fish all morning long, but haven't actually been crushing them, so to say. But looks like the clouds are going to hold off. Doesn't look like some immediate thunderstorm, so we may be able to fish a little deeper into the day. But day two, we're catching fish, and another good day on the Conejos River. Hey, it's in the afternoon. Change of tactics. Up above Platoro Reservoir, and the water's it's cold, it's clear, and it's running pretty well. So I came up today to give it a look. Hike down into the valley here, ready to fish, and the storm started to blow up and I'm bugging out. I've been caught in too many of these over the years to know that it's about timing your run back to the car just as the storm hits. And we've had some bad hailstorms the past couple afternoons, and I don't have my hard hat, so this is where I'm going to probably spend my day tomorrow. The water looks great. I didn't get a temp. I didn't see too many bugs rising, but I didn't want to take time. I'll do a sweep for you. Just beautiful area. A lot of snow on the peaks because of the snowpack this year, but I've made a couple of trips. You can see those clouds coming in, and again, they look like they mean business. They're rumbling, and like I said, you can see my Jeep back there on the flat up on the hill. Doesn't look like much, but it's always a bit of a walk. But I'm going to try to get back up there and come back here tomorrow. A lot of snow on the peak still. Down here a little further on the Conejos, and the water is just ripping through. But every once in a while you find a little pool like this, and I don't know if it's happening now, but I've seen 20 trout rise in that little area. What makes it so tough is the conflicting current. Of course, now that I'm videoing, nothing's coming up. But you've got there's one. There's another one. You can see the bugs coming off the water there. You've got to cast across this ripping current. There's another one. They're all stacked up in there. You've got a terrible conflicting current. And even if you should catch one, you've got to get them through this main current here, which might be a real challenge. But there's another one. It's funny, when I take out the camera, they don't seem to be rising as much, but I'm going to give it a shot. There's another one. They're just sipping back there on that back current. So I'll accept the challenge and see what happens. But if I hook one, chances of getting them out of this bank are pretty slim. There's a couple right there. Let's go. Let's give it a shot. Well, I was successful. Second one across that current. They're stacked up in there pretty well. Yeah, it's a tough cast, so they're also conflicting current there, but we'll give it a few minutes, see if we can get a few more. It's a nice fish. Well, I've been able to conquer that cross current. There's some big fish sitting over on the other side. This is a beauty that came out of there. Getting them across that current was no picnic, but I hope you agree. That's a very nice looking fish. Get them out of here. Let's get them back in the water. Well, that's a nice looking fish. This isn't the biggest fish I took from that backwash pool, but any fish I can take out of that pool and cross that current, I'm going to take. It's been a real battle of wits my fly casting skills and the ability to get them out of there, but boy, it's been fun. What a great time we're having down here today. There's a couple of different ways you can fish, and one of them, I remember reading or passed it on, someone passed it on to me. One method is to be a stork. That's just to stay in one place, very still, patient, and fish, and hopefully tie into some. The other is a mink or an otter. If you've ever seen a mink or an otter work a bank, they're constantly moving. You'll see one downstream, he'll work his way upstream, and he'll be gone upstream before you know it. He's hunting fish in a different method. Both methods work. For the past couple of days, I've been storking. I've been staying in some pools that I thought were likely to hold fish, and because of the high water levels. Today I decided to otter it up a little bit and move around. And I moved down to one of my favorite pools. You've watched videos in the past, you probably recognize it. I didn't want to come down because the water was too fast, but nevertheless I did. And you see that little backwater over there. Boy, there were 50 fish rising at the same time over there. It was a great drake hatch. And it lasted for about 25 minutes, and it was a ton of fun. The hard thing was getting a cast across this conflicting current, and once you got one, it was getting across this cross current. I had one literally take me downstream into this fast rapids, a nice rainbow that I was able to pull out. But I guess sometimes it pays to walk around and be an otter and hunt for fish. And the only thing that brought me down here was, let's give it a try. And once I got down here, you could just see the fish breaking the surface on the other side. And then it was just a matter of figuring out how to cast across the conflicting currents. And once you did that, how to get them across this really powerful current. But it was a fun morning, great day down here on the lower Conejos. One of the add-ons to moving around is when I took the temp upstream this morning, it was 46 degrees, and we caught some fish, but the rises were pretty sluggish. That's why I moved downstream, get further away from the bottom release dam, and actually the tributaries coming in are actually carrying warmer water. Got down here and the water's 51, 52 degrees, and the hatches are prolific. So search for warmer water. And I've got my stream gauge, and it gives you some good information that you can use to see what's happening in the river. But definitely downstream was warmer today. You just gotta love the colors on these wild browns, those red dots. It's just a beautiful fish on these Conejos browns. This may not be the biggest brown in the river, but for the past 3 days, we've been battling it out on the opposite bank, and I finally got a hook into him. A beautiful fish, gave me a good fight, and we'll see him next year when he's a little bit larger. There you go, buddy. Thanks. I've been working this guy for the past half hour. I must have made about 5 or 6 fly changes, and finally what did him in is I got him on a size 20 Adams cripple emerger, just flushing the meniscus, and he came up and hit it pretty well. I had to go down to 6X tippet. He was really fussy, but it was a nice fish, and it was a good way to end another beautiful day on the Conejos. These browns, you just can't say enough about them. They are a ton of fun. I'm not sure it shows up on this, but there's just a prolific midge migration going on right now. It's like a super highway. Just thousands of them heading upstream. Occasionally you'll mix in a caddis, there's green drakes, there's a rise right on a queue right there. Another hour and a half, hour before it gets dark, but the bugs are really starting to pop right now, and fish are waking up on it. It's quite a sight. I'm not sure if it shows up on film, but there's 2 spinners dancing around late in the day, and they're all over the river. It's quite a sight to see. They're just so delicate looking. A really pretty sight. I hope that shows up. You zoom in a bit. There he is. You see him right in the center there. He's going up and down. Well, it's my last night on the Conejos for July 2019. What a great time I've had here. Water levels, I was real nervous about them coming in. I generally fish the river. I've been fishing it for a number of years, and my records, I indicate I love fishing at around 80 cubic feet per second. If you watched last year's video, it went down to 18. I'll post a note on this video when I get home, but my guess it's running around 325 plus or minus at this point. So I was real nervous pulling in, but it's been a great week. Fishing has been terrific. It's challenged my fishing and casting skills, but that's what's made it such a great trip. Tried a number of different things, and it forced me to make some adjustments. And you know, we're working half days here. Half day for a fly fisherman is 24 hours in a day. A half day is 12 hours, and that's pretty much what we've been doing. Get up at 8 and fish until night, last light. It's been terrific. What's worked this week? I only needed a couple of flies. Most all the fish I caught this week simply never leave home without a size 14 or size 12 parachute Adams. The green drake, a merger, 12 and 14s, really did a terrific job. Those are two flies that I've got a bag full of flies here, and those are the only two that I needed this week. I did momentarily challenged by a fish and got him down on a 20 cripple Adams merger on 6X tippet, but that was the unusual fish. He's been fished for before, and I was able to slide down on tippet size and fly size and catch him. What's been great after fishing the San Juan last week, and it probably just me, but my fishing skills, I have a lot of long distance releases, LDRs down there. The number of fish I lose is in relation to the ones I actually hook up with is always a mystery. I don't do as well as I'd like to. I've been here all week, and every fish I've hooked, I've landed. Using size 14 and size 12, they're hooking really well and pulling them through the water with 4 and 5X tippet through this heavy water. And it's remarkable that if I hook a fish, I've landed them, which has really been terrific. So it's been a great time. As always, I love this river. I can't wait to come back, and we'll see it in 2020, hopefully, and hopefully the water levels will be much more favorable for my skill level. But can't wait to come back as always. Stayed to the last light of the Conejos for 2019. It's been a beautiful stay. It's a beautiful river. We've had a great time, and we look forward to returning. It can't just possibly get any better than this. That's the beauty of the upper Rio Grande Valley. It's a real pretty place. Much nicer when the water's a little lower, but it's breathtaking when you're fishing and you look up and see the snow caps and the mountains. It's really quite beautiful. It's the end of July, and made it up into Creed yesterday from the Conejos, and Ran into a gentleman last night, fished the Rio yesterday. He showed me a nice 25-inch rainbow he got, and I guess it got my hopes up, because I did check the water levels last night, and they're not good. The water's really ripping through here. I'm fishing one of my favorite sections on the Rio, and the water's moving so fast I'm getting vertigo watching it go by. It's cold, it's stained, and it's high. And I'm going to give it the morning and see what happens. Just going to fish these little side channels here and these pockets. Although there's bugs flying around, it's very doubtful there'll be any dry fly fishing on this section of the river. It's just, as you can see in the footage here, it's just ripping through. So I'll give it the morning. If I catch a couple of fish, it's still an absolutely beautiful area. And if it doesn't work out, there's plenty of plan B's and C's to work on. But this is a result of that high snowpack. And of all the places we visited, this one seems to be most impactful. They're really dumping a ton of water out of the reservoir above and trying to draw it down, resulting in these very high flows for the end of July. Careful waiting, but we'll give it the morning and hope for the best. It's certainly going to challenge my skills. Well, despite the less than favorable conditions here this morning on the Rio Grande, I was able to land in the first 15 minutes. I was able to land my first nice rainbow on the Rio for 2019. Nice fish. Get out there and try to swim in that water, buddy. Good luck. Looking for a new world-class kayaking site. This is one of my favorite sections on the Rio, and at this water level, it's just blown out. There's some tight seams on the banks I've come up on, but generally I could dry fly fish that seam on the other side and have a whole afternoon of fun fishing this short section of the river. But this year may not be fishable till Labor Day, maybe. What's been working for me is I try to stay out of the main river, and I look for these braids or channels that has a high water and created these side channels, and looking for soft water like that. I lost 3 fish in here yesterday. I caught them in there. What happens, they take me out here and it's pretty much bye-bye time. So it's really been the key, is finding soft water where the fish don't have to work as hard, and the fisherman doesn't have to work as hard either. But these seem to be the honey spots. Finding little channels and braids like this and staying out of the main current if you can. So I've given the Rio about an hour and 15 minutes this morning. I landed a fish. You know, earlier I was priding my fortune in hooking and holding fish on the Conejos. Boy, that percentage just went down. I've hooked 5 fish and actually brought one to the net. I had a big brown out of this little section, and it's just, the current's too tough. Water's, like I said, moving real fast. You can hear rocks tumbling down in the stream bed. That's the force of the water moving along. But the fish are here. It's been a tough fishing experience because, well, they're frustrating because there's so many bugs flying around. But I have a feeling I'm going to see very little surface activity. So you're forced to dredge the bottom and put on a ton of weight and get it down to the bottom, and then the result is that you get a lot of hangs and hookups on this bottom. So I tie my own flies. I'm not sure it's better to lose flies that you pay for, or it pains me to lose flies that I've tied and spent so much time working on and have them come off the bottom. I switched over to a Euro rig, throwing some jigs on the bottom, jig hooks, hoping that would lessen the hang-ups, but I'm still getting hung up. I've been fishing this small section right here. What I found, the best thing that works is to find a seam that doesn't have any hang-ups, that looks fishy, and then just keep fishing it and adjust the weight as necessary. And like I said, I pulled 5 fish out of this little current right here, but I just lost a whole rig on the bottom, so I'm deciding to move on. This spot has taken enough of my hardware, so I'm going to move upstream and fish a little more. But fish are here. They're on the bottom. It's just what kind of price do you want to pay to catch them. But we're moving upstream. It's a beautiful day. Full disclosure, second day on the Rio, and second cast and I landed this fish. It actually hooked and landed. Yesterday, fish for about an hour and a half before some hailstorms came in and lightning had to get out of the water. Hooked 9 fish, landed 1. So boy, my percentage sure went down. But I went to a 6-weight rod today. Water's pretty heavy here. 4X tippet. Like I had no trouble hooking the fish, but you know, once I hooked them, what they would do is they'd run out into this heavy water and they'd wave bye-bye. So using the 6-weight today, hope for a little better percentage rate, but off to a good start. Second cast, landed a fish on a bitch creek. Hopefully it'll continue throughout the morning. There's the bug you want to be using today. They're coming off sporadically. Fish aren't rising to them, but on a good day, that'd be your dream day, right? There he goes. Yeah, I've repositioned. I left the heavy water below the. Some people refer to it as the Farmers Union Reservoir, others the Rio Grande Reservoir. They are working on the dam. It looks like they're dumping a lot of water, so decided to make my way up in a little higher country, fishing above the reservoir, losing a lot of flies down there. Hooking fish, not catching them, losing flies, what I call kamikaze flies. These are flies that were sacrificial. I was losing so many, I dropped down to flies that I really didn't care if I lose. But I've decided to come up above the reservoir. The water's, it's more fishable. It's still running high, but it's just there's a green drake hatch going on right now. There are just spinners everywhere. But the problem is the water's so high that the fish aren't even coming up to look at it yet. But even if you don't catch anything, what a beautiful valley. Glad to be here. Gonna keep an eye on these storm clouds and bug out as soon as they start to get dark bellies. But a fun place to be. Sometimes in fishing, what's it's all about, it's about making adjustments. And today I've adjusted. I love fishing the big river, the Rio, but it's a couple days there and it's just tough fishing. So moving on to the smaller high tributary creeks and having good success. Not going to catch any 20 inchers out of these streams, but they're very eager, very opportunistic, and we're having fun. I'm up on Slug Mullen Pass off Route 149, fishing Cibola Creek, and it's running real nice, and you can wade up the riverbank and catch plenty of fish. Very opportunistic, just tossing dries. It's hard to believe it's August 1st. I don't know where July went, but August 1st, we're at about 10,000 feet here, and it's probably in the high 40s, and it's a nice spring chill for a guy from Connecticut, but gonna make best of it. High cloud cover today, keeping an eye on the clouds. Got a 8-mile, 9-mile single track soft road to climb out of this valley, so keeping an eye on the weather, but having fun, making adjustments, and continuing this journey of 2019. This is Cibola Creek. Little hiking up and down. There's canyons you got to work around. Not as easy as waiting. If it's low enough, you can walk up the stream bed, but there's plenty of winding water here, good water, good dry fly fishing water. Hey, it's Saturday, August 3rd, and we've been up in the Rio Grande drainage for the past week. We were scheduled to be there for a week, but You know, they were working on the Rio Grande Reservoir Dam, doing some work, releasing the water. We're catching fish, but boy, the conditions were tough. So um, part of being a fly fishing enthusiast on the road is being flexible. So decided to relocate. Actually headed back to the Conejos Valley. The water levels here are much more favorable, and the bug life and hatches, there's much more surface activity. So I was here a week and a half ago on the Conejos, and the water has dropped. We were having great success then. The water's dropped over 125 CFS since then. So it's much more favorable. What's odd is last time I was in this exact spot a week and a half ago, the water was 51 degrees and high. This morning, it's early, but I just took a stream temp and the water's 46 and clear, and that was kind of surprising. I expected it to be a little warmer, but the sun is just coming up over the ridge, and hopefully it'll heat things up a little bit. High 40s maybe, but it's kind of a refreshing chill. So here on the Conejos, so looking forward to wrapping up the trip here, and it's great to be fishing dry flies again instead of dredging the bottom as we were doing on the Rio. I don't know if you could see that. I've waited all morning for the drakes to pop, and I don't know if it shows up on film, but hundreds of them starting to dance right above me. Waited all morning for that, but at the same time, all of a sudden these clouds started to roll in. There's the head wall. And I got to get out of here. I got a bit of a walk out of the gorge up to my Jeep, which is up there. And I want to get out before any lightning starts. Hopefully it'll be a quick shower and I'll be right back in an hour, but better be safe than sorry. This might be my very last fish for the 2019 adventure here. Got him on that opposite bank. I parachute at him. I'm fishing all morning. It's been real sunny, but it just got cloudy and a nice hatch started and the fish started coming up. This might be the last one. I always like to pay homage to that last fish. Thanks a lot for a great summer, guys. See you again next year. Last day on the water for the 2019 fly fishing adventure, and it's been a great trip. Started weeks ago on the San Juan River, and we're concluding here in a repositioned spot in southwestern Colorado. Every year is a different experience, and the last year was historic drought, and this year historic snowpack and high runoff in some areas. Started on the San Juan. Challenges were there, water running at 1,040, 1,050 cubic feet per second, which, as you know, is running a little high for July and early August. And the state putting in 24,000 juvenile trout, which we hope will grow quickly and provide us with great fun and pleasure in the future. They'll thrive in that beautiful fishery. After that, we moved up to the Conejos Valley, where the water was again running high but clear and fishable. We had a great time, some great drake hatches. What's great about this part of the country for a guy like me from the east is that 99% of the fishing I did this year was on a dry fly. The only dredging we did was on the Rio. And when I come out here, the fish seem as happy to see me as I am to see them. It's great to fish for opportunistic and eager trout. It certainly makes me very confident about my fishing skills, because the fish at home can be so temperamental and snotty because they're so highly pressured. So we fished the Conejos and had a great time. Moved up to the Rio. The Rio, because of a variety of factors, was running extremely high. There, as I said, they were working on the dam and they're sort of releasing the snowpack water. The fishing up there was primarily dredging the bottom with nymphs, and I was supposed to spend about a week up there, but after a couple of days it just became tiresome to dredge the bottom and lose a lot of flies. So part of a mobile fly fishing enthusiast is to be flexible. So repositioned for the end of the trip, choices to go to the San Juan or down here in southwestern Colorado, and chose to come down here because of the cool temps, and it's cool. I'm out on my last day. It's early. It's 46 degrees here at Streamside. But came back down here, a lot of dry fly action, and this is where we'll conclude the trip and heading back east. But it's been a great trip. I love every moment of it. I can't wait to come back, and we'll see you in 220.
Happy trails to you till we meet again. Happy trails to you. Keep smiling till then. Don't feel like going home, but all my cash is gone. It's time to move on.